Why are we still asking the NFL for an apology for Colin Kaepernick? We didn't need an apology to know that they intentionally ousted him. He was ousted because how dare he kneel in support of the black communities, right? Why would we expect the NFL to change, and what exactly does an apology and so-called tryout do for us 4 years later? Those are just attempts to appease or pacify us. The NFL has had plenty of opportunities and has plenty of resources to support the black community, of which 70% of their players come from. The reality is the NFL is right in the middle of this oppressive system that we are fighting to change. And Roger Goodell doesn't speak for the NFL. He isn't the NFL. He works for them. The NFL is the 32 team owners, several who have owned the team since the days of segregation, who don't care what Roger Goodell has to say and don't care about the black community or any disenfranchised community. Doing an audit of the 32 NFL teams, we found the diversity amongst the majority owners, general managers, and head coaches includes one Korean co-owner, one Pakistani majority owner, two black general managers, three black head coaches, and one Hispanic head coach, which collectively belong to 6 teams. In a league where over 70% of the players are minorities, only 18% of the teams have diversity in the most critical leadership positions. Based on studies in 2013 and 2017, the lack of diversity has actually gotten worse. The approximate total value of all 32 NFL teams combined is $88.6 billion. The combined total of all NFL players' salaries is approximately $4.5 billion, less than 1% of the combined NFL team's worth. That's less than what the NFL brings in from selling broadcasting rights alone. Just like Yo Gotti said in his song, women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie. So it's easy to see what value the NFL places on its players and how much less value it places on their voices based on how they treated Cap and prohibited everyone else from protesting in solidarity with him. The NFL doesn't owe him an apology. We do. We owe Cap an apology. Every single person who continues to support the organization that silences us for speaking up against systemic oppression by doing the exact thing that we're speaking out against. We are the ones who owe him an apology, and not an apology through words, an apology through actions. The real head scratcher here is, why do we still play for the NFL? Let's not act like this is the only time the NFL has done wrong by its players. Why is it that we continue to subject ourselves to this oppressive organization when we can simply come together and start our own? Come together and start our own professional football league that is inclusive and actually cares about its players and their communities. With all NFL players coming together, it is legitimately possible. The influence that NFL players have around the globe by itself is enough to make it work. The economic standing and level of influence tied together with today's technology makes it possible. And I guarantee there are wealthy people around the globe who would be willing to come together and fund that project. We as a people can come together and fund that project. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot that goes into it beyond the figures I've mentioned, but the reality is that it can be done if we come together. Imagine what level of change we would be able to create with $5 billion in broadcasting rights flowing through our communities annually. Imagine how many disenfranchised people and communities we could help in this country and around the world with $88.6 billion behind us. All we have to do is come together and do it. We're already in COVID crisis, and starting up the season for 2020 isn't that smart anyway. So we can take this year off, coordinate, plan, and start our own league next year and see how fast change comes to our communities. And the NBA needs to get that work too. Colin Kaepernick is not the first professional athlete to feel the deliberate oppression the NFL and NBA perpetuate. Lest we forget Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, who was suspended and then ousted for refusing to participate in the national anthem because of the history of oppression and racism it represents. He received death threats and his house was burned to the ground. We have to see these organizations for what they truly are, extensions of the oppressive system we are fighting against. We need to start our own leagues. Starting these two organizations alone can completely change the economic condition of our disenfranchised communities. Over 70% of NFL players and over 74% of NBA players are minorities. All we have to do is come together.